Alright, time to go back into the Windlenauts Museum as we continue with the game of Shivers. And I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to backtrack a little bit because...
Select a game from the register.
I'm going to take care of something. First things first, we have to go back down to the workshop for the first part. Pardon there. There's a little method to my madness here. Because I have a feeling we're going to run across one particular Ixupi that we are going to need to take care of. And that's the cloth one. And now we go back upstairs to the Tombs and Curses room. And of course, first off, we need Rod Serling to give his narration.
Much of what we know about early man comes from burial sites, but not without a price. Eternal life was the sustaining ideology for many ancient cultures, and they went to great lengths to prevent their dead from being violated. Venture on if you will, but beware the curse of the tomb.
And there is some reality to the curses of the tombs. I mean, let's face it, diseases that are buried away for years have been re-released because somebody opened the tomb. And here we have our Ixupi tomb. Now, before we go any farther, I'm going to point this one out. Secret panel. By turning over the leaf, we can get into the secret passage on the second floor. And by using that, you can access a whole lot more of the museum earlier than you'd expect, but one area still remains sealed off. The dial. Let's see, just as a reminder...
Care to refresh your memory?
Yes, that's why I'm here. Okay, Tomb of the Ixupi, we need a green skull. So let's see what we got. Oh, we're on blue here, so let's see. There's our green skull, so click that. And here we are. Now the pictographs here will tell you the story of the Ixupi. It actually starts here. And goes this way. And here you have where each one was supposed to go. I mean, it's not like you can put them on here again. And since 3 are empty now, we shall now venture farther in. You know, I've never figured out what these things are. They're supposed to be thrones or tombstones. Probably tombstones. Makes sense. And here we have more Egyptian themed. And sarcophagus between two pillars. Oh shoot, forgot to read that plaque over there. Let's go back to that plaque and read it as it talks about the Ixupi. Let's see. Let me see. Turn around again. There it is. of the Ixupi. Buried deep within tomb number 49 in the Moch Valley, the 13 Ixupi in this exhibit lay undisturbed for centuries, where Moch Shaman had buried them in sealed magical vessels. As responsible archaeologists and researchers, we must respect the power of the evil entities sealed in these vessels and warn all who enter. Never break their seals and release the Ixupi into the world. And the eternal skeptic will always disregard it. Now, back to our sarcophagus and sphinx over there. Let's see, the Sphinx. Possessor of lost wisdom and guardian over the city of the dead, the Sphinx stands watch over the greatest tombs ever built, the pyramids. Search, and you may learn wisdom from these ancient lips. Oh, little steps. Let's click on it.
The heretics that lay beyond hath driven out all of the gods save Ape. So be it. If thou art wise, thou shalt know that the names of this Pharaoh and his queen be placed forever in shame on the columns of Ra.
And of course, if you recall what they were talking about, the ones in question are Akhenaten and his queen.
Care to refresh your memory?
Of course. So let's see, let's go back to the Egyptian hieroglyphs explained. Okay, Akhenaten, crane in the middle, sun over lines, and that up there, and a lady here for Nefertiti, 2 feathers, and that symbol there. Okay. So, let's see, is this Akhenaten or Nefertiti? Ah, Akhenaten. There we go. That one's ready. And now we go over to this one. No. Ah, there we go. There we go. Not that one. There we go. And we open the sarcophagus, and inside we see... Ah! We have found the crystal. The crystal pot. You know, it's nice that we're finding these in simple places. Alrighty, we're gonna leave that alone right now. And there's one more area. Ah. Another tomb. Curse of Anubis. O wretched soul who disturbs the eternal rest, may exist in despair for all eternity. Anubis, chief deity to whom prayers at an Egyptian burial are made, was the originator of embalming and funerary rites, and used to invoke the curse of the tomb you are about to enter. And if we open... Oh, we have a Cloth Ixupi in here, which is what I was expecting here. Looked a bit like the Grim Reaper, didn't he? And he actually matches the color of whatever you find him in. Now, that's why I wanted to go after him now. You see, later on, we're going to find a room in which the Cloth Ixupi is actually hiding one of the parts of the vessels. But now that that's done, there's only one more thing left to do. And that is to go up here to to our next door. A door that must be opened by solving another puzzle. And this one is actually a relatively simple one. The goal of this puzzle is to complete the paths from top to bottom. All squares must be rotated. So let's see. There we go. That makes sense. Ooh, that one makes sense there. And that. See, that one's fitting. No, that don't make sense there, I don't think. Ah, that fits. And let's see, that fits. Okay. Ah, that fits there. And that fits there. That fits, and that fits there. Let's see, that one fits there. Ah, that looks better. And that looks right there, and that looks right there, and... Okay, that lines up. Ah, that's better. And that fits, and... Look at that. I swear that panel has to be on some sort of the tilt for those to roll down like they did. And now we go into the funeral rites room. And if you want to leave this way, you click that button and the door opens up. But we don't want to go that way yet. And we go down here and we push this button and...
Death comes uneasily to the mind of man. Burial customs throughout the world arise from the belief that the survivors can secure life after death for the deceased. You will find here that man has conceived of many ways to honor the dead.
Yes, and there are many. As we come down in here. First, let's look at this one here. Let's see, do we have a... Where is that plaque? There we are. Paracas burial bundles. These funerary bundles of the Paracas Indians of Peru denote a vast difference in wealth. Each richly embroidered bundle tells a story of wealth and includes lavish personal possessions. The poor were buried in plain cloths. Both wrappings covered a basket with a body in it. And look. This would have been another hiding spot for the Cloth Ixupi. Norse burial ship. Men and women of wealth and position were given ship burials and were provided with food and armor for their trip to the underworld. Actually, yeah, there was the underworld. The heroes were taken up to Asgard, if I remember right. And, oh look, another skull dial. That would make the third one we've come across.
Care to refresh your memory?
Yes. Yes, we do care. And let's see. Ah, that one should be blue as well. So we found this one, and this one. So let's get that to blue. And it's at red, so we turn it, and there's blue. I have to double check something. Okay, there's the steps back up. Let's go over here. Burial. The door to the next room, we could go through it easily. It's not locked. Cremation. To a Hindu, cremation is considered a sacred obligation to the dead. The soul is set free, and the fire god Agni takes it up to heaven. In India, it often takes place near a river, if possible the Ganges, which is sacred and has the ability to cleanse sins. And there you got some ashes. Yep, if we hadn't caught the Cloth Ixupi yet, they would have been right there waiting for us. Animal crematorium. The Hindus of Bali placed the dead body of a loved one in this animal-shaped sarcophagus before it is consumed by a fire. Food and personal items accompany the dead on their trip to heaven. The entire structure is burned, including platform and tower. So this would probably be a very good replica. And it is also home to one of the most insidious puzzles that got put in puzzle games. The Chinese checkers / IQ puzzle. This has been a favorite of puzzle game makers for goodness knows how long. And I kid you not, it is very, very hard. In fact, almost everybody who doesn't have a good enough memory for it has to solve it by looking it up. And these are so old, they used to put these in like Friendly's restaurants as something for the kids to do. And they would sell them, actually. Okay. So let's start with the simple one. So let's see, we're going to start up. Right. Down. 7 up. 3. 6 left. Right here. 5, 4 left. 5, 1 right. 7, 5 left. 4, 3 down. 7, 3 up. 5 down. 6, 5 up. Okay. Now 3, 7 left. 5, 7 up. 3, 4 right. 3, 7 left. 3, 5 down. 1, 5 down. 2, 3 down. 3, 1 right. 4, 3 up. 1, 3 down. Now, the biggest trick with this one has always been solving it. Solving it in the center is the sign of intelligence, and we have found the last one we are going to need. This is the lightning thunder one. And this is the vessel for the Thunder and Lightning one. That means the lid is going to be behind the that panel down in the main hall. We'll put it back in there for now. It's not going to close. Now, oh, there's a book here. July 10th, 1980, New York City. Since I am moving tomorrow, I decided to record my thoughts in this journal. I will miss the view of the museum from my apartment window, but Dad says he needs a less stressful job. July 15th, 1980, Mount Pleasant. While I am not excited about this small town, it does have its advantages over New York City. The air is very clean, so my telescope will work great, and it's quiet. For Dad's sake, I will try to think of more. July 30th, 1980, Mount Pleasant. This town has a really awesome museum. Professor Windlenot's Museum of the Strange and Unusual. The sign says it is opening soon. Can't wait. August 8th, 1980, Mount Pleasant. Dad says the museum will never open. I don't believe it. He says Professor Windlenot once taught at the same college Dad is teaching in, but now he's some kind of eccentric. August 20th, 1980, Mount Pleasant. Not looking forward to school next week. I finally saw the professor. He looks really cool, like he just got off an archaeology dig. August 29th, 1980, Mount Pleasant. School is as bad as I thought. Everyone here is a bunch of hicks. There's this girl, Beth, who's kinda cute and says she knows Professor Windlenot. I'm not sure I believe her. Dad says he's a recluse and not likely to know a high school girl. September 7th, Mount Pleasant. Turns out that Beth really doesn't know the professor, just a lot about him. She says he has some secret way to get into the museum, but nobody has figured it out yet. I followed him home from the post office yesterday and saw him go into the museum. She was right. He didn't go to the front door. He went to a gazebo and did something that made a little bridge come up, then crossed the bridge, then went into the ground. Cool. September 13th, 1980, Mount Pleasant. Dad said I had to get a job. Bummer. He said kids in a small town get in trouble without jobs, so I'm working at the bookstore. Good news, I followed the professor again and I figured out the layout of the museum grounds. I think I could figure out how to get in. Beth has given me all sorts of advice. I think she likes me. She keeps hanging around. It's hard to follow someone else when you are being followed yourself. Yeah, that's an accurate drawing, I'd say. This September 16/17, 1980, Mount Pleasant. Beth keeps hanging around. I hate it when Dad thinks she's my girlfriend, invites her over for dinner. This job has turned out to be okay, after all. I finally met the professor face to face. He came into the bookstore to see if we had a book on some African tribe. He seemed to recognize me. I asked him lots of questions. He was pretty cool, but secretive. He kept staring at me. He did say he was going to Africa tomorrow. With him gone, I'm going to try and get into the museum. I have most of it figured out. Should I get rid of Beth or take her with me? She is hard to get rid of. September 26, 1980, Mount Pleasant. Tonight's the night. Dad is attending some kind of lecture. I told him we are going to a movie in case he comes home early. We means I've decided to take Beth with me. She might come in handy. She is smart, and she has a rope ladder we can use to get over the wall. She says she uses it to sneak out at night. Here's the schedule. 7 p.m. leave house. 7:45 p.m. climb over wall. 8:10 p.m. raise stone step bridge. 8:25 p.m. enter Stonehenge. 8:30 to 10:30 explore museum. 11:15 p.m. home. 11:30 p.m. Dad comes home. September 26, 1980, the museum. This is a very odd museum. There are a lot of rooms we can't even get into, and puzzles everywhere. We found this one exhibit, a has some ancient pots. There was a warning outside not to disturb them, but Beth said she didn't believe the sign and opened one of them anyway. There was a pretty cool noise, and it felt like cold wind coming out of the pot. I thought I saw green electric charges coming out of it, but Beth said it probably was from negatively charged ions or something. I helped her open the rest. It was pretty neat. Something horrible happening. Grotesque things coming from everywhere. Can't find Beth. We got separated. There are so many secret passages. She could be anywhere. What are those things? Beth is dead. Found her body in the basement. Those pots, they're not in the exhibit anymore. I keep finding them all over the museum. I think I have to find them and use them on the creatures. If only I could find a way out. All the doors are locked. Maybe they won't find me here. And what is this that we're looking at here? I forget what this is. Spectacular Coffins of Guyana. The lion celebrates the life and status of a great African hunter and will carry his remains to the afterworld. Jewelry and money will also accompany the hunter on his journey. And there's our missing jade skull. Place your bets, everybody. Let's see what we've got. The coffin. We have a dead Merrick. I'm going to take a wild guess that the Jade Ixupi got him. We just have to find the vessel to find out if we're right or not. And into the next room. Gotta admit, that chant's got a nice beat to it.
You are now in the world of the Shaman, or witch doctor, whose purpose is to act as intermediary for gods and men. The shaman acts as doctor, frightening evil spirits away from the sick, or officiating in the practice of human sacrifice to pacify angry gods.
And if you're familiar with the Zack McCracken game, they play a mean game of golf. Okay. Oh, I hear our friend the Wax Ixupi, I think. Yeah, that's the wax one. Witch doctors of the Congo, witch doctors from the Congo known as Magongo and Mufumu, act as doctors, psychologists, and soothsayers, casting bones to read the future. They destroy their enemies using wax images by slowly tearing off their limbs one at a time. Yeah, I don't think we want to mess with that wax image right now. An example of a witch doctor's hut. I don't think all this stuff would be in an actual hut. Paint. Footsteps. There's the camera. And a door hidden here. You can just see it and where the steps are. Let's get over here real quick. The Sarambe doctor of Mozambique speaks to the gods by drumming a secret rhythm. The drums, ta, ba, ram, and bo, are sacred, and only the witch doctor can play them to frighten evil spirits and open the door for the dead to enter the place of the gods. So the witch doctor shaman room is between the funeral rites, where the dead would be, and the next room, which is supposed to be to the gods. Okay, this is another puzzle. And this one is tricky. you have to play the right tune. You know, I have never seen anything that hints on what the right tune is, except what they found out. Now, if we run on certain assumptions, we don't know how long it is, and we can assume safely that a tone is not repeated. So once you hit one of the drums, obviously, you can hit another drum or end it. So every beat has 4 possible options. The longer it is, the longer combinations there are. So it could be 4. It could be 1 beat long, not likely. Could be 2 beats long, possible, which would mean 16 combinations. 3 beats long, could go up to 3, which will be then, let's see, 16 times 4, 64, and so on and so forth. Now, what we saw earlier, and I have to check some notes here, was 7 beats long. So if they could have managed to get 1 beat out a second, or 1 combination out a second, you're looking at a couple of hours at best to figure out the right one. So let's keep it simple. Luckily somebody found it and put up there Ram Ta Bo Ba Ta Ram Ba. And we are done with the Shaman room. And so, after our next stop, we're going to go in our next installment, we're going to leave the Shaman room and enter the Gods room. Home to one of the other most tedious puzzles that they like to use in puzzle games. So, let's do our save, and you take care. Because next time, the Gods room and one of the most... Actually, before we go... Should we have not tried to figure that puzzle out? This area would not open up. And you can't get from going the other direction, and I'll show you why in the next entry. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.